Hello, everyone. Welcome to Snap Take. This is Glazer of Snap Judgments, the official podcast of Marvel Snap Zone. And today we're doing two videos. So we're going to kick it off with a data mine driven video. We've got all of the December and January cards data mined. We've got their themes, everything else, a whole bunch of variants, and we're going to give you a deck for every single data mined card. Cool. Let's get started by telling you about the first season. It's going to be a Marvel Rivals, the new Marvel sort of shooter-esque game coming out in December. It's going to be a crossover. This is the key art and the cards coming. Galacta will be the season pass card. We'll look at what Galacta does momentarily. The variant for Galacta is a Rian Awesome Chibi, and then we'll be getting a Hela and Doctor Strange variants in that season pass. Not bad at all. I think Galacta is definitely going to be a worthwhile season pass when we get there momentarily. We also then have a Thunderbolt season, which makes sense coming in January, as I believe that Thunderbolts movie is coming out right around then. This is again the key art with Iron Patriot in there. Ironic that Iron Patriot being the card that's coming out in January for some, reasons. Iron Patriot will be the season pass card again, and that's going to come with a really cool Sentry variant and a really cool Dakin variant. Dakin is very likely to be series dropped based on this information, so it seems likely that Dakin will be a series drop coming in the series drops that are coming this December. Outside of that, obviously we have some card variants and everything else, but I really do like the art on this, both Sentry and Dakin, and I'm pretty happy to get them for free from the season pass. I do have a hip for Dakin and a Jacinto for Sentry, so I'm unlikely to run these, but hey, having more top art for really cool cards is better. Before we go further, I'm going to ask you to hit that sub button. We bring you more Marvel Snap content than anyone in the whole wide game. We are doing 2 videos today, 2 videos tomorrow. We've got a giant podcast coming this week, and we give you at least 4 brand new decks every single day here on the channel. 7 days a week of videos, more Marvel Snap content at a top level than absolutely anyone. We get the top decks from the top players all the time. In addition, we're trying to hit 16,000 subs before the end of the year, and if you can help us get there with a sub, it would mean an absolute ton to us. So if you're willing to, please hit that sub button. Subbing also helps you win a season pass, not this video in particular. Well, I guess this video too. Why not? Can enter you to win a season pass. We're giving away one this week. The one commenter on one of our videos is going to get a season pass. We gave away 5 last week, 5 the week before. In 2 more weeks, we'll be giving away 5 for the Galacta season pass. So if you're looking for more season pass than anyone, this is the place for you. All you have to do is comment. And what I'm going to ask you to comment is, what's your favorite card that's data mined? What's your favorite card that we're going to talk about today as a data mined card? Cool. Without further ado, Galacta. Galacta is a season pass card for December. She is a 4/6. Each turn, the first card you play at another location reveals with +3 power. So she's going to give you, she's essentially going to be a 4/12, right? This obviously has synergy with Galactus. If you get Galacta out, Galactus is all of a sudden a 6/9, which is pretty damn good. You can still ramp into that. You can go Electro Galacta into 6/9 Galactus, which is pretty damn good. There's a lot of different ways you can use this card. They've also been trying to make a buff or pump deck in Marvel Snap forever, since at least Sebastian Shaw came out. We've got numerous pieces for that. Cards like whatchamacallit? I lost the name of the card. Spider-Gwen? No. Gwenpool. Cards like Gwenpool. Cards like Shaw, and then a million other cards that really care about getting multiple buffs, cards like Symbiote Spider-Man, so on and so forth, and Galacta seems like she's going to be really good with those. If you go Galacta into, for example, a Symbiote Spider-Man, all of a sudden you have 2 8-power symbiotes, you're playing a 4/16. You can do that if you've gotten like an Aranya out as well, and now you can get even further power on that card, right? Like there's a lot of things to do with Galacta that offer you a ton of power, and this is going to be a really, really cool card that I'm really excited for this December. It doesn't feel like it's OP, but this does feel like a very powerful season pass card. The deck we're going to talk about with Galacta, I feel like we had to do a Galactus deck. So I went and found the Galactus deck that I think did the most with strength buffs. This is a Galactus deck from the beginning of the Symbiote Spider-Man season. And I added Galacta to it, right? You can do the Wong thing, right? Like you can still do Wong Panther, but just a Galacta on a Panther is immediately going to be make it 8 then 16 power. Doing the Namora turning Namora into a 9 power card and then turning Galacta into an 11 power card seems like it's really strong. And of course, you obviously have the Galacta thing. It's worth remembering Galacta is not a non reveal, it's just each turn. So it's not going to synergize with Wong. So it's not going to do anything special with Symbiote Spider Man or Wong, but it is possible that a Symbiote Spider Man allows this to re trigger as well. So this is a card that has a lot of power, it has a lot of interesting applications, and it's different than what we've usually seen. It does seem like it's going to be good with cards like Namora, and I am very, very excited to see if we can get a new archetype out of this. Even if not, though, this just seems really, really good. I'm excited for Galacta, and I hope you are too. Coming next season, the Daughter of Galactus. Our next card is Luna Snow, the first of a card that generates other cards. We're going to see a whole series of them this season. Luna Snow comes out the same week as Galacta on 12/3 in the Spotlight caches, and we have the full Spotlight cache to review as well. Luna Snow is a 3/5 on reveal, add an ice cube to each side of this location. The ice cube is 1/0, which means like Killmonger or Elektra will interact with it, and as will your own like Kazar or Blue Marvel. So that means that this card is all but guaranteed to go into zoo decks. Let's start there. This is going to be a really good zoo card. This is also going to be a really good ramp card. Decks that really want to get extra stuff out seem like they will absolutely love this. So at the start of each turn, get +1 energy, then destroy this if your side here is full. So if you can manage not to fill your side of the ice cube, you're going to get +1 energy from turn 3 on. It's like a less downside Electro. That is a huge ramp. This card is very likely to be very, very good. And cause there to be a lot more Killmonger, to be perfectly honest. However, in something simple like a freaking zoo deck, I can see this going through the roof. That's not where we're going to go, though. Husky has this deck he calls Husky Pile. I cut Shadow King for Luna Snow. Basically, this deck really, really sings when it gets Electro, and Luna Snow is just an extra Electro. It sounds amazing because you don't have to keep Luna Snow out, right? You can happily misery that or blink that away and get that extra ability and really, really make it work. You can still play Electro, right? That 3/3 Electro is perfectly fine to blink or misery and probably even better, but Luna Snow works as well. It just seems really good. And I think that this is worth looking into. Um, yeah, this is where I'm going to be. This deck right now with Shadow King in it has a 60% win rate. We covered it last week. Luna Snow makes it just significantly better. And making your deck significantly better is probably something we're in the market for in Marvel Snap, right? I think the consistency she adds will be absolutely great in this deck. And as a 3/5, her stats are nothing to sneeze at. Luna Snow comes with Lady Deathstrike and X-23, which are two cards we can cut Lady Deathstrike from the will likely go down to Series 3 pile, because if they're releasing a spotlight for it coming up in a few weeks, then this is not going to be a card that Series drops. So Lady Deathstrike will remain a Series 4 card. X-23 could go down to Series 4, but will not be dropping all the way to Series 3. These cards make this not a very impressive week. Deathstrike is a fine card, but a Series 5 card. It's not terribly important. X-23 is one of the older Series 5 cards, one that many people already have. Unless you're looking for a Destroy deck, you don't really need it. So I think this is going to speak to Luna Snow being very strong, that they're putting it sort of with cards that are not especially exciting. As far as the variants go, I think this Deathstrike is cool. This is probably the best classic Deathstrike they've released. And this X-23 is nice. This is an X-Force style X-23. I also don't like the Luna Snow variant very much. I do like the colors, but I don't love the variant. Then we have Peni Parker. This is my personal pick for the best card we're going to talk about today. I think Peni Parker is through the freaking roof powerful. I've got a deck for it that I want to see immediately. I've got multiple decks for it I want to play immediately. She's a 2/3. On reveal, add SPDR, Spider, get it, to your hand. When this merges, you get +1 energy next turn. So if you merge anything with Peni Parker, it gets +1 energy. It does not have to be Spider, as near as we can tell. We have a whole bunch of cards that merge. We have Agony, we have Symbiote Spider-Man, we have Hulkbuster, we have Phoenix Force. All of those can merge with Peni Parker and give you just a bonus energy. If you merge more than one, I believe you would get more than one bonus energy, because that seems to be a separate clause from the on reveal. It's its own sentence. Meanwhile, you get a 3/3 in your hand. A 2/3 that makes a 3/3 is just good, almost no matter what, right? That is really good for your curve. That's going to put this into Wiccan decks at the very least. What this is going to do is that Spider is going to merge with one of your cards, and you can move it next turn. It's only one move, but one move is all you need when you're giving +3. That is a thing you can easily do on a Human Torch. It's a thing you can easily do on a Vulture, a Dagger, etc. You can also do it on multiple men. And then there's this deck Baby made a while ago. He called it Men, and now it's got Peni Parker and it's got Peni Parker and Agony in it, so I changed the name. It also lost the symbiote Spider-Man because I think Penny Parker is just strictly better than symbiote Spider-Man for this list, because it comes with the built-in move. This list should be really good. If you can get that symbiote onto, sorry, that spider onto multiple men, you've just got you've played 12 power there. You can then Hulkbuster, you can move again and pull. You've got Agony, you can use that to pull. This list seems really, really strong, and I'm very excited to see if we can finally have a multiple mana meta with Penny Parker. Obviously, this goes in Bounce Move and a million other shells of the like. This is just going to be very strong in a lot of different ways, even in Wiccan decks, just as a curve filler. However, despite all that, like, this card is going to be a must play. You're going to be able to have so much extra energy because of this card. You're going to be able to do so many extra powerful things because of this card. It's going to be great. This is going to be the best card. Get ready. All right, Penny comes with two middling cards. Well, one card that's good, but people don't have enough of, and one card that's middling. I do love the Spotlight variant. I may need to get it. This Sasquatch is very strange looking, but I do need a Sasquatch variant, so I may go grab it. Yeah, that's it. It's a Sasquatch variant. Sasquatch is fine. It goes in exactly one deck right now. It goes in the sorry, I need a sip of water. I streamed the making of this slideshow, so I've been talking for about 2.5 hours straight now. So excuse me. Sasquatch goes in the Cook, that one Mockingbird deck. It doesn't really go anywhere else besides that Mysterio Mockingbird deck, but it is a must-have for those, so it's good to have. Gladiator is a card that was really good for a while. I would like to see Gladiator go to Series 3. It doesn't appear like it's going to now, although Sasquatch could again go to Series 4. The thing that I don't like about Gladiator is we're now in a Scar meta, which means there's a bunch of 4/10s in the meta. If there's a bunch of 4/10s in the meta, Gladiator is fundamentally unplayable. And that's what I think the problem is with this card. And by 12/10, I don't expect that meta to have disappeared enough for Gladiator to be a good card again. So Gladiator is fundamentally unplayable, but Sasquatch is worth owning. And I think Penny is, again, going to be a top-notch, like, literal S-tier card. I could not like it more. I could not be more excited for Penny Parker. All right, and then we have Doom 2099, and I didn't like this card upon first read. This is a 4/2. After each turn, add a Doombot 2099 to a random location if you played exactly one card. So as long as we can play exactly one card, Doom is going to make a Doombot. So that means if you can play this on turn 3 or turn 4, you're going to immediately get a Doombot. And that Doombot is going to give your other Doombots and Doom +1 power. So this Doom is going to go immediately to a it's going to play for a 4/6, right? It's going to play for a 4/6. And then if you can play one more card, one more turn, it's now playing for a 4 plus 8, 12, right? Like, it's just getting better and better. But it says your other Doombots and Doom have +1 power, which means this, as written, and they almost certainly have to change this. This is going to work with Doom Classic. If this works with Doom Classic, what we're looking at is an insane card, because now all those Doombots are going to give each other +1 power, right? They're all going to give each other +1 power and these Dooms +1 power, and now we've just got 10 million power, and that's going to be one of the best cards in the game. If this is the thing that happens, this is going to be absolutely insane and broken. Fair? Especially if you can get out on turn 3. So the deck we're going to try is just this nice simple Doom deck. This is a take on an old Den deck that's basically saying I can do the War Machine thing. Well, why not try it with Doom, right? I've just got so many combos here. I can go, if I can get my Zabu or my Psylocke, I can go Zoom into War Machine, into Legion, into Infinite, right? Without any trouble. I can go Doom into Storm, into War Machine, into Legion still with this. I can drop a Cull Obsidian with my 3 1-drops. If I have a lane that I can't get into, I've got Madam Web for that, to make sure that that still works. I think that this list is going to put up an insane amount of power and be meta basically immediately upon the release of Doom 2099. 2099 comes with Hitmonkey. We don't know what variant the Hitmonkey will have. It is not data mined yet, but Hitmonkey will apparently not be dropping to Series 3. Fine. Bounce is one of the best decks in the game. Hitmonkey is an S tier card right now. Go get it. Meek, it's worth knowing, is a currently very good card. I love this variant too, but the thing about Meek is players don't like him, but Glenn Jones was on the podcast and said Meek's stats were absolutely great. So Meek is still a really, really winning card, a really, really powerful card, worth checking out. So I think that this is a really, really must open week. This is the best week to open that we've seen so far, at least in my opinion. I think Penny will be better than Doom 2099, but I think Doom 2099 with Meek and Hitmonkey is the week to open for if you're missing multiple cards, even if they're Series 4. Next up, on 12/24, we have Bruce Banner. I love that they're making Bruce Banner his own card. I do not like this design. This is my least favorite design that we're going to talk about. I don't think this card is going to be healthy for the game. So Bruce Banner is a 2/1. When you end a turn with unspent energy, 25% chance to Hulk out. Nice and simple, right? So at the end of any turn, you have unspent energy. Think High Evolutionary. This has a 25% chance to Hulk out. It's very unlikely that's compounding. This can be a 2/1 at the end of the game, but odds are by the end of the game, you've just played a 2/12. Um, there is sort of a misnomer there, right? Because let's say you skipped 3 turns for Bruce Banner to turn into that 12. Now you spent 5 energy for that to happen. Of course, the trick will be to get that extra benefit, which is why this is probably going to be in High Evolutionary Shells, kind of like this one. We covered this High Evolutionary Shell yesterday. This is Owl God's version. It's 1 card different. I threw Banner in. I think Banner makes a lot of sense here as a way to just say, if I got Banner out, I'm going to try and take advantage of my Misty, Sunspot, and Cyclops and gather extra energy. That's going to make my She-Hulk cheaper, etc. And then I get an extra chance at an extra Hulk. That seems like it's probably good enough for me. I'm also not against going Banner, Frigga, Banner, and just seeing if I get an extra Hulk right after, right? And then if I go Magic into the next turn and into pass, I've just got a really, really good chance of getting Hulks and other nonsense going. And I'm pretty excited for this to be really good, even if it's not something I like. Be ready, start packing your red Guardians for this Bruce Banner. It's worth noting, though, that they think this card is going to be great and they want to get into a lot of hands. Not only does this come out on Christmas Eve, but this comes with High Evolutionary, which it goes really well with, and it comes with Ravonna. I don't like this Ravonna variant. This Ravonna variant reminds me of the current Werewolf by Night I don't like, and the Zabu that came out last month that's a little like too cartoony and stylized. It's not like hip stylized, but differently cartoony and stylized. Um, yeah, I don't know. So I would like this Bruce Banner variant an awful lot if it didn't have a gun. That does not feel like the right character to me, even if it's just a gamma gun. Not a fan. But yeah, uh, Ravonna makes Bruce 1 cheaper, and if he's 1 cheaper, you're more likely to be able to get that extra energy. And if you're more likely to get that extra energy, he's better. There's probably a Thena shell that does this, and Evolutionary loves this too. This card is again going to be really, really good, even if I don't think it's going to be healthy. I think it's a little too high variance for me to really think it's good design, but it is a very, very good card. Lastly, we have Rocket and Groot, and I was all ready to think this card is terrible, and chat, remember because I talked about these and built this on stream, convinced me otherwise. So this is a 3/3. You can move this once. After your opponent plays a card here, steal 1 power from it. So every time a card is played there, it's -1 to the opponent and +1 to you. We've seen how strong that ability is multiple times with everything from Cassandra Nova to Silver Sable to Scream. This is a nice, easy way to do that. It's probably going to play for like 3/7, 3/9, which seems like it's incredibly strong. It's worth knowing that this has a ton of synergy with other Guardian stuff. And Nebula, if this is on the board, your opponent's likely to try and play somewhere else, which means if you're playing Guardians cards, you should be good. Or you can play this on top of Nebula, and then you're either getting 2 power from Nebula or 2 power from Rocket and Groot. There's ways to do that, but none of that is where I want to start with this. I want to start with the Stinky Move deck. I've been playing this a lot this season, and I've had great, great success with this sort of like combo. I put Scream into my version, and just like Scream as a potential, like with just Polaris and Spider-Man, is more than enough power, let alone all the move opponents generally have. So why not add Rocket and Groot and just say I'm going to steal even more power from opponents? That power can power up Ajax. It's really good. It can basically make a US agent lane super dominant. I think that this is going to be incredible in this shell. It's sad I can't fit Craven, but there are versions that run Craven that Rocket and Groot will be even better in. Like, go check this deck out. I don't think you'll be sad that you did. I think this is absolutely awesome. It's also, by the way, an extra enabler for Miles Morales as necessary. Really, really, really strong in the shell. I think Rocket and Groot is great. And again, there's a lot of iconic cards like Spider-Man and Symbiote Spider-Man, like Bruce Banner and Hulk, like now Rocket and Groot, where the originals were already in the game, and I like them spending some more time sort of adding new versions to the game. All right, Rocket and Groot. I don't like the Spotlight variants. I don't like how evil Rocket looks in these, but whatever. Rocket and Groot comes with Blob, and if you like a lot Arishem, you need Blob. If not, whatever. And Selene, which I cannot believe Selene will not be a Series 3 card. I genuinely hope they change their mind on this because Selene is one of the worst cards in Marvel Snap. But that's just where we are right now. Cool. We are into January already. Ready for the first January card? It is Iron freaking Patriot. Iron Patriot is on reveal, add a random 4, 5, or 6 cost to your hand. If you're winning here after next turn, give it plus 4 cost. So this is a card you can only play on turn 2 or turn 3. Good. If you play it on turn 2, you have to be winning there after turn 3. If you play it on turn 3, you have to be winning there after on turn 4. I guess you can play it on turn 4. So if you play it on turn 4, you have to be winning there and after turn 5. It's a random card, so that random card might be completely broken. It might be completely useless. But negative 4 cost is insane. You could, if the card is a 4, it's free. If it's a 6, it's a 2. Any of that is stupidly powerful, right? There are multiple ways to make sure you win that lane that we're going to take a look at in the deck. We're going to look at. I think Mobius just starts to go in every deck because this is too strong to like not have an answer for. The deck we're going to start with is a take on the current Frigga anti-venom decks. So I would not hate 2 copies of this. B, Juggernaut means a free lane win. C, if I play this on turn 3, I can drop a Man-Thing on it, and then I'm very likely to be winning. Cassandra Nova is very likely to be winning in a lot of matchups, etc. And I think that that is really, really important, because like I can go Hydra Bob into Iron Patriot into a Frigga or a Cassandra Nova, and I just feel like I'm so far ahead. My opponent snaps me to move that Hydra Bob. I get extra value. I think this is fundamentally where I want to be. This is going to be absolutely incredible, and it's where I'm starting. It also sticks Iron Patriot and US Agent together, which is at the very least kind of amusing. You can feel free to just go turn 4 Iron Patriot US Agent 1 lane, right? If you got a Luke on 3, then you can drop a Man-Thing or an Ajax in that lane and just say, I win now. And like, there's just a ton to like here. Just cheap stuff, good stuff, right? That's the basic gist of this deck. Anti-Venom obviously synergizes really well just as a big old 4/7. This list is going to be huge. Iron Patriot's going to be incredible. It fits insanely well with Juggernaut, insanely well with cards like Hydra Bob or like Luke Cage and Lizard, right? Like there's a million ways to make this really, really powerful. Figure out what they are. It goes in arishem. Figure out what the ways to make this stronger are because you're getting such an insane benefit. All right, next up we have Victoria Hand. Victoria Hand is a coming out on 1/7. It starts late because 12/31 is the last week of the last season. But we've got Victoria Hand coming out with Iron Patriot. They don't think ongoing. Your cards created in your hand have +2 power. It could be +2 power to the other card, but I don't think it's worth it. It isn't ongoing though, so it's not going to like amplify if you make multiple copies. It's not going to be +2 then +4, etc., which is sad because I think that would be absolutely incredible. But one of the places I want to try, like this is obviously meant to go with like your Agent Colossus and stuff. I don't think it's quite good enough for those decks. I think what I really want to do is make myself some 5-power swarms, which means that I think we're going to try this in a discard with Collector and Helicarrier. Giving a +2 to potentially everything you hit with Helicarrier after you Lady Sif it early is really strong. Making the Swarms 5 is really strong. Making Scorn huge as a 1-drop is really strong. All those combined with just growing a collector, I think that this is going to be a really great place to look at in order to have a powerful discard list. And it's worth noting that Victoria Hand and then the next 2 cards all sort of synergize with each other. We're going to look at different decks for them, but they all synergize with each other, where buying one can mean buying all. Victoria Hand is a really strange variant that I'm not in love with. Victoria Hand also comes with this great Kate Bishop that I cannot wait to get NC in gold, and a Grandmaster, and I'm not sure how I feel about the Grandmaster. It's probably a little too like realistic. Looks a little bit too much like a fantasy novels cover, right? But whatever, we'll see. Grandmaster is a card that's good to own. Kate Bishop is must own. Hopefully you bought it with the season pass though. I think this is going to be a skippable week, but Victoria Hand is excellent. It's worth knowing that it's good that I think January is significantly weaker than December, because I think December is basically like all must buy. I think you're gonna want most of December, assuming you want to play those decks. Bullseye is coming out on 1/14. It's a series. It's a 4/5. Activate, discard all cards that cost 1 or less from your hand. Afflict that many different enemy cards with -2 power. Obviously, this works with Swarm, right? It's going to chuck a Swarm. and then it's going to give -2 power. How good this is going to depend on how many cards are in hand. This can work with Dock, and it can work with a lot of other cards. It works fine with Scorn as well. So if you have 2 Swarms and a Scorn, you've given -6. You've now played it as a 4/11. That's obviously really, really strong. Ree has this deck she calls Random Bullshit Go. I think that's an amazing home for this card. You have to be a little careful, right? You don't want to Moon Knight too early with Bullseye in hand, but if you're willing to risk it because you've got a big enough hand, it can be really, really good here. Um, you can use your this might even be the time to like actually switch things up and not do Moon Knight, instead do Swordmaster, and then we can cut stature, and then we got to figure out what we're doing Helicarrier. But Lady Sif should do the job plenty there. Whatever. This is basically saying I'm gonna play just big power cards as I'm getting +2 on my cards, -2 on your cards that I'm generating, and then I should be able to win. I think that's a cool enough situation to be worth trying out Bullseye in this list. This is our friend. It's just It's a Random Bullshit Go list, and I think it's absolutely stellar as a way to try it. Bullseye comes with 2 cards. Black Swan is a must-have if you want to play any bounce. You must have Black Swan to play bounce nowadays. So if that's the case, if you want Bullseye, and you need Black Swan, that seems great. Black Swan will be almost a year out of spotlights at this point. She was a February season pass card. Meanwhile, Nocturne is a 3/4. Nocturne can probably have her power back and go back to a 3/5, but she is a 3/4. Here is one of the first Nocturne variants. Cool. She's not very good right now, and not a card you need. Then we have Moonstone, and Moonstone could just easily go on like a Mobius and a I just lost the name of the card. A Mobius and Victoria hand card, and give alt +4, because she is a 4/5 ongoing, has the ongoing effects of your 1, 2, and 3 cost cards here. So she only works in her location, right? But as a 4/5, she can copy lots of things. She can make Cerebro 5 really strong. She can copy a Patriot. She can copy Victoria Hand, make it +4. She can copy a Morbius, and make that lane winning. There's a lot of really, really viable options. Just hitting something like a Dazzler or an Ant-Man is really strong. This is really good. Like, this is really good. Doubling cheap ongoings is very good. Is this the best card of the month? Probably. Like, I can see this being really, really strong, especially because Patriot loves this. Having a curve of Patriot into Moonstone just seems crazy strong. Being able to do this with Ravonna seems really strong, so I can play them both at the end of the game if I wanted to. Or I could, at the end of the game, copy that copy Iron Man with Mystique if I have Ravonna out, and then Moonstone that as well. And I think those 2 options are more than enough. I could also, earlier game, right, if I go Ravonna, Patriot, Moonstone, now I've got a 1-cost Mystique, a 3-cost Iron Man, and all these extra pumps, and that seems like it's probably pretty freaking good too, right? I think Onslaught probably changes for something like either Doom or Ultron in this list, but like, what the frick ever. This list is going to be crazy strong. Give it some go. All right, Moonstone comes with Kara and Marvel Boy. Marvel Boy is going to be really strong. Marvel Boy is always really strong. It's one of those underrated cards in Marvel Snap. Really cool variant. Kara is just not great. She's a card that is fine, that you're happy to own when you have her, but if you're missing her, you don't miss out on decks. Moonstone, though, I think is going to be a must-buy, and Marvel Boy is a card that I'm pretty sure most people will want to own. Finally, as far as Spotlight Cash cards, we have Ares, even though we have 2 more cards after we finish talking about Ares, and then some variants to look at. Ares is a 4/6. On reveal, compare the power of the top 3 cards of both decks. If your total is higher, +6 power. And it is going to show the total power of their top 3 cards, so that is really useful information if you know enough of what's in decks. So Ares is great, right? But it only goes in one deck, and it goes in 2 decks because it goes in arishem. But the other deck it goes in is the Surtur deck. It goes in the Surtur deck as just an extra 4/10, right? Because if you're comparing the power of your top 3 cards, very few things, unless you're very unlucky, are beating the Surtur deck. That's it. It's just very likely a 12 power card in the Surtur deck, and thus makes it far more consistent. I don't know what else to say. Great. I'm glad they're giving us this in 2 months. Really, really cool Spotlight variant for Ares, where it looks like he's dipped his hands in blood with the giant freaking axe. Ares comes with Kang, and please, 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 let there be a Kang rework by then. And then I want to give second dinner props because I shamed them earlier. The props is that Misery was updated right at the end of her time in Spotlights. And Misery is the first spotlight from that month coming back, from the symbiote month coming back, which I think is really good. It gives people a chance to get the card that they missed. Also with a pretty cool variant. So if you like this card decks, you need Ares, right? That's it. He's going to go in all of those. All right, cards we don't have a date for. First is Gorgon. Gorgon's a 2/3. Ongoing. Your opponent's cards that didn't start in their deck cost one more, maximum of 6. So my working theory for Gorgon is this is going to be something like a high voltage card where it's just like a very niche card that they're giving to us for free because they don't know how else to release it. It's obviously an anti-arishem card and it's probably pretty good against arishem, but it's not like a requirement for that matchup or for any deck. The only place that we could figure that it really made sense in the chat earlier was in the Jet Hawk deck. So the Jet Phoenix for Starkhawk deck really loves this because the rocks and the widow's kisses become really obnoxious. When you have to pay 1 for the widow's kiss, it is so much worse. If you can get Gorgon out and then you can Black Widow and either Grandmaster it or Misery it, like your opponent is in trouble. They can no longer play they're not drawing cards, nor can they play their curve properly. And I think that's probably enough to make this really powerful and an inclusion in the list. I cannot think of another place for Gorgon. Gorgon is either the most obnoxious card in history of this deck or utterly terrible. The last card we don't have a date for is Doxy. Doxy is an on reveal draw card. You can't play cards next turn, which seems bad until you remember Infinite's a card, and then we go Infinite is where we're going to play this, right? I don't think this goes anywhere but Infinite decks, but Infinite decks are so happy to have a 2/4 that draws you a card without drawing your opponent a card so they can't counter you, that this will absolutely play it. There's even a perfect turn to play this. This plus magic on turn 5 is absolutely incredible. You can then skip turn 6 and then go Infinite and She-Hulk or Hulk and She-Hulk on turn 7 without any trouble, right? You can play this on turn 4 on Hope Summers and do the same basic thing without any magic shenanigans. So that's probably enough to make this really good, right? Like this has those 2 uses. It gives you the extra card you need in this very specific deck that wants it and wants to pass. And thus, I think Doxy is going to be a pretty good card. Great meta defining? No, but a pretty good card that should bring back an old favorite. Some of my favorite variants that were data mined, we have the Dan Hip Thena, which is great. I did get the Spotlight Thena today. You can see more of that later. Then we've got this really cool new Thanos. I don't know why I like this Thanos so much, but I really do enjoy it. Sunspot is like secretly has some of the best variants in Marvel Snap. Here's another ridiculously cool one. I cannot wait to stick my gold border. I have all 3 of these cards of gold. Thanos with purple crackle, Thena with rainbow, Sunspot with nothing special, but still just getting this gold seems really great, and I'm excited. Next up, we have a Cyclops. Cyclops is probably my favorite Marvel character. That seems amazing. A Shang-Chi that looks kind of like a young Jackie Chan. So hell to the yeah. I'm in with that. Again, I have Shang Gold, and I don't have a Nocturne variant, but but now there's a Dan Hip, and Dan Hip is my favorite, and then I'll have a Nocturne variant, 700 gold, and that will be a problem solved. I'm all for it. Finally, we talked about this Marvel Boy earlier. I think this Luke Cage is great. I love the suited look. I love the holes all over him with the smoke coming out. I'm for this Luke Cage. And then we have a bundle that is this Loki with the thing that's currently in the shop, and I think the colors on this are gorgeous, and I would absolutely love to own it. So that's the variants we're going to talk about. That's all the variants we're going to talk about, and that is the data mines for this month. Again, let me know what your favorite card we talked about. What do you think is the best or most interesting card? Oh shit, there's one more thing of variants. I'm so sorry. All right, so we only have one new comic variant. It's this Doctor Strange, which is fine. It's not one of my favorites, but hey, it's a comic variant and it makes me happy. We talked about this Hawkeye that I want to get gold, and how cool is that Adam Warlock? Again, for this Adam Warlock, can we please, for the love of God, get an Adam Warlock rework? Look at how cool that thing looks. Certain tiers of support on our Patreon come with on-air thanks, and I've got a second video to record, so let's do this quickly. Thank you to Abigail Giesland, Mandatory Burnout, Irregardless, David G. Wingfield, Dirty Casual, Danton, LAB, FaThorNewman, Good Dog Gamer Inc., I Am Frostman, Jane Everett, Thinking Poker, Prime Brian, Ryan Burke, Ryan Wood, Heretics League, Quire, Black Dahlia, Pyrofos, The Goat Seeker, Archangel 3K, Hollowed, Quid Pro Joe, Fat Nick, Mr. Kerfuffle, Ginger Prime, Philip Brackvich, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, Rob Sermon, The Bizza, Black Jeebus 23, Express V and Skippy G, and Jessica Gamble, Tommy Nyquist, King of Bros, Bruh, The Great Kazoo, Kepsi Hoda, Lunacris, Corwin, John Q, Jimmy Q Clam, Colonel Forbin, 8th freaking Sage, Models Mod Supreme, Green Goblin, Unibot, Flan, Steven, Brian Kaufman, Just Nace Martin, Jason B, The Fuzzy Dunlop, Spectrum X, Hoot, Matt H, TJ Mike Hijinks, No Flex, Ocularis, Christ Terry, BG, Sojax, King Kenna, Tim Spike Jones, Two Ties, The Great Lordas, The Parking Tuccrr, and of course Gunny T, where the T stands for. Don't forget, there's a second video coming later today. In the meantime, why don't you watch some more great content right there and right there. I'll see you later today for some more Snap Take, where I got, just a casual 3 decks for you, including a 70% win rate Malekith. Peace.